We go. Recording.
Hello.
Alright, so today I'm going to teach you how to finger knit. My name is Candace Williams. I have experience as an art teacher. Right now I do private lessons with a little girl who is 6 years old, who loves finger knitting, by the way. First of all, finger knitting is just like knitting, only it's kind of an alternative. Instead of using needles or a loom, we're just going to use our fingers. So, it's good for all ages because, especially for the 6-year-old girl that I teach, it goes a lot faster. Because if you think about how big a needle is, a knitting needle, how big around it is, and then think about how big around your fingers are, and we're adding 2 more to that, so it makes it go by a lot faster because it's a much looser knit. So the supplies that we're going to need are basically just 2 things. We just need yarn, and you can use any kind, any material, any color. You can add multiples, so you could take a few skeins of yarn and put them all together as one. You do need to remember, though, that the thickness of your yarn, or how many pieces of yarn you use, determines the thickness of your project, regardless of what you're making. Like I said, you can also use multiples, which is, you can use different colors, stuff like that. The other thing that you're going to need is your hand. So I'm left-handed. I'm going to be showing you on my left hand and pretending that my 4 fingers are the needles, and then I'm going to use my other hand, my right hand, to load more yarn. So the first thing that we're going to do to start is make a slip knot, and I like to leave a nice tail so you have plenty to work with. But a slip knot is just like this, and then we're going to shorten it, and we're going to put that around our thumb. So this is making an anchor for our yarn, so it's not going to go anywhere. And then you're going to go, I guess it would be the back of your index finger, over the middle, behind the ring finger, and in front of the pinky. Actually, no, I have that backwards. Around the index, behind the middle, on top of the ring, and behind the pinky, because then we're going to take this long part that's connected to the skein, and we're going to just go over what we just went over, just over our 4 fingers on top. And then we're going to take the index, and we're going to take this one and go over, and then our our ring finger, and go over. And that's casting on. Casting on is basically the foundation of starting to knit. It's what starts everything. And then we're going to take, and we're going to, since we've cast it on, since we've started, now we can just continue knitting. So we're going to pull this back around, and now we're going to do all 4 fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're just going to continue to do this until you get to the desired length that you want. And also, after you get a few lines done, and the more you do this, the faster it goes, which is also really nice. And the cat wants to do it. So I'm just going to do a couple lines. And then after you get a couple, you can take it off of your thumb. And when you pull it, you can start to see the what you've knitted so far. And you're going to keep going until, like I said, you get the desired length that you want for whatever project you're making. And I have, the other most important part is casting off. Casting off is how you end a project. It's how you are able to stop knitting without everything coming apart. So I went ahead and got one ready. So I'm going to fit this back onto my fingers so I could show you how to cast off. So this is what I stopped with, and like I said, you can go as long as you want, use whatever you want, but it's kind of thin. So for me to stop, I went ahead and cut off a piece from the skein, and I'm going to wrap it around just like normal, only this time when I go over, I'm just going to pull it all the way through. And then I'm going to do that on the rest of my fingers as well. And then you just pull it tight. And then you have an ended piece. So on this obviously doesn't look like much, but for an example of a finished piece, the little girl that I teach, she made this scarf for me. And I don't know how well you can tell in the video, but it contains 4 lines like this. And she thought they were too skinny, so she basically just weaved them together or sewed them together. And then she added some fringe on top of hers because she thought it would look cool. So basically you can do anything you want. You can make scarves, you can make hats, you can make baskets, anything you want. And you can add your own personal touch. So in closing, I hope that you enjoyed the demonstration, and then in this fall and winter season you attempt to make your own and you have fun with it and just make it your own. Thank you.